Well, how you doing? How you folks? I hope you're doing all great. This video is gonna be particularly on Trump election results. Then this is gonna be the second video. I made my first video prior to the election, November 5th. I think I did that video a few days prior to the election, and this is the kind of follow up, so to speak, on that video. And by all means, I want to assure everybody that this is not going to be kind of a rubbing in your face, I told you kind of stuff. This is not that. Obviously, from my first video, it is very apparent that whom I voted for. And again, I did vote for Donald J. Trump. And so, what is it that I want to talk about? There are lots of issues, and it is near impossible to obviously cover everything, touch base everything, and address all those things that are popping up in my mind in this video. I want to make it relatively, I hope it's not going to be too long, relatively short and brief. And my focal point of this video, I'm not planning on even talking about the international issues, the Ukraine-Russia war, Middle East, Israel and Gaza, China, Taiwan, none of those. I'm not going to talk about the foreign relations. I'm not going to talk about potential economic impacts and consequences of Donald Trump's position now coming to power. And one and only one subject matter now I want to touch base is going to be the immigration, and particularly southern border, the Mexican-American border security. So yeah, let's begin. Let's start talking about it. I've been watching a lot of guys, a lot of experts, political analysts, attorneys, especially the immigration attorneys with various different backgrounds, the ethnic backgrounds, national backgrounds. A lot of immigration attorneys, they're coming up with their opinions, ideas, their expectations. One common denominator, I think, among all these, and I'm hearing, is that the fact that as of January 20th, when Trump swears in and starts the day one, starts working, there are certain things about immigration. In another video, I'm going to touch base those things in more detail. I want to cover those things and address them in more detail. Whether it's the way that they're going to handle the asylum cases, the birthright citizenship, the green card, work visas, H-1B, all those kinds of work visas, and all those things related to immigration, all things immigration. I want to cover those at another video. The focus of this video is not that. My intent on this video is why I believe, and because of that, because of my understanding and my belief, I voted for Trump. Why he is so big and so huge on that one, as we all know, during his campaign, and he said he did 900 rallies during his campaign, the election campaign, prior to election, 900 rallies, and every single one of them, there was not a single exception. Every single one of them, he did talk about the immigration case, the impact of illegal immigration on the society, on the social structure of this nation, the very unpleasant consequences, all those things. Every single rally, every single interview, every single TV appearance, YouTube appearance, whatnot, he talked about those things incessantly. So let's kind of try to take a look at that. And I want to basically touch base to the very core concept of immigration. So first of all, I am myself being a legal, underlined immigrant, that I came to this country 36 years ago as a student on F1 visa. And through marriage, I got my first green card and remained in that marriage for 3 years so I could qualify to apply for American citizenship, which I did. The process took about 2 years, and after sometime within the 5th year, I acquired my American citizen status along with my passport. And for those of you, if you're wondering, I'm still in that marriage. I've been married to the same woman for 28 years. And the intent here is to remain married until the end of our lives. Just so you know, because we all know that, all these, fake marriages, commercial marriages, this became an industry. But I'm not going to talk about it now. That's not the purpose and point of this video. 36 years, I did not have a single day as illegal. Not a single day. I paid utmost attention to obey and comply with the immigration laws and regulations. And also, I'd like to mention that I never used any government assistance programs, because that's also a concern, especially for those illegal immigrants who are crossing the border and they're applying for government assistance at the taxpayers' expense. After my I graduated. I completed my undergraduate degree and then graduate degree, and then immediately after that, I was able to find a job. Since then, give and take about 25 plus years. Actually, I would say getting close to 28 so years. I've been working and paying taxes. And when I look at especially the last 4 years of immigration practices, what's happening, the immigration nightmare, I'm going to call it, in this country. Believe it or not, I'm being basically heart to heart, I'm saying that I've been very pissed. Because people like me, we came, we did what we were supposed to do. We respected the law of the land. We understood the rules and regulations of law, and we respected. We did not violate, not even slightest bit, not a single day of illegal status. And now seeing millions upon millions upon millions of people during the past 4 years, during the Biden administration, not only being let go, I'm going to use this term, they were not only just let go and pass illegally, they were facilitated, they were helped, they were pushed to do so. If it wasn't enough, airplanes full of illegals were brought and dropped in certain parts of the country. One example is Ohio, Springfield, Ohio. They dropped in that town, which is about 50,000, population of 50,000, they dropped about 32,000 illegal immigrants in the midst of that town. And they told the people, they told the mayor, hey, do what you have to do. You got to accommodate those people. That includes, you can imagine everything. The shelter, the food, the healthcare services, education services, you name it. The numbers are fluctuating. The numbers we're hearing are fluctuating as far as how many total people, illegal immigrants, came to this country. Even with the most conservative numbers, I repeat, the most conservative numbers, easily, soaking wet, easily, way above 10 million illegal immigrants. Some figures are pulling this up to and including 20 million people. Let's stick with 10 to 12 million people, okay? Let's call it minimum, most conservative number, 10 to 12 million people. 4 years is a very short period of time for this many people to come to this country, to kind of go through the process of integration, the social integration and assimilation eventually, and become an American. one might wonder, why is it that Biden administration allowed such act that, not only allowing them, actually, I'm going to repeat myself, to come to this country, in fact, they almost forced to bring more and more and more millions of people. You might believe or not, I personally do believe the intent behind that was to change the very fabric of the society to the point that those who've been living in this country for generations wouldn't be able to even recognize what kind of a country they're living in, or their children or their grandchildren will be living in. Even if you don't believe in this, you may not believe in this. I chose to believe in this. That's a lot of people I know see this and blame people like me as conspiracy theorists and believe in all kinds of conspiracy bull. I get it. But even if those who don't believe that there is some kind of conspiracy, taking place behind the scenes, that they're, eventually by these kinds of acts, this whole mass illegal immigration, that if you look at any kind of socioeconomic, cultural anthropology, physical anthropology, any kind of social studies would prove that if the percentage of the immigrants coming to a nation exceed a certain level, there is some kind of a very sensitive threshold. If it exceeds that, in a very short period of time, and 4 years, believe me, that's why I said it's a very short period of time, that has a huge negative consequences for that nation. And I want to also touch base the way immigration functions in overall for a country like United States America. I'm not going to repeat the very well-known fact that this is a nation of immigrants. But that alone does not justify any kind of illegal and uncontrolled immigration than letting anyone crossing the border and then applying all kinds of social benefits and government assistance programs and committing crimes. And then they're being protected in sanctuary cities. And even if they commit crimes, and some of them are extremely serious, which is rape and murder, and yet still being protected within those sanctuary cities from the ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers. No one with some level of sanity can ever understand and justify the reasons behind this. It is impossible not to ask why politicians during the Biden administration happily and willingly facilitated these kinds of acts I just mentioned, and these kinds of extremely serious consequences. It was not like that they were not aware. They were so naive. They did not know. They thought that they have huge hearts as Democrats, as the Democratic establishment. They have huge hearts, and they have their bleeding hearts are such that they just can't help themselves and try to get everybody who's suffering different parts of the world, and they're trying to bring them to this country. That was not the reason. The reason behind it was way more sinister, ugly, and treasonous. They were involved with treason by doing this. I repeat, what they did is an act of treason, and it should be treated as such in reality. Therefore, I'm supporting Donald J. Trump in every bit of my body. for his decisions and plans about fixing the illegal immigration that was started 4 years ago, initiated 4 years ago by the Democratic establishment to destroy the social fabric of the American society. And I want to also touch base the importance and significance of immigration. I mean legal and controlled immigration. This country, especially given its status in the world, which I personally see as a beacon of hope to four corners of the world. If anyone who'd like to challenge, please go ahead and challenge me. But before you challenge me, ask yourself, why is it that during the past 4 years under the Biden administration, 185 countries in the world have been represented among those illegal immigrants? If it's not a beacon of hope, if this country is not a beacon of hope, or if it doesn't earn this kind of a label, tell me what does, considering what I just told you. There is no other country in the world now, in fact even in history, where people from all over the world, I repeat, the number of countries are 185 represented at the Mexican border, try to come to this country, and if it's not qualifying this country as a beacon of hope, tell me what does, if any. Immigration has huge history in the history of this country, and immigration must continue. Legal immigration, controlled immigration must continue, and the value of immigrants for generations is basically beyond calculation. It's almost like this country was built on the back of the immigrants. That is correct. 100%. I agree with that. 100%. I don't challenge this, even slightest bit. But this is not what we've seen the past 4 years at the Mexican border, at our southern border. What we notice, what we witness is increasingly aggressive actions by immigrants particularly at those sanctuary cities. Number one, New York City, Venezuelan gangs. Trump came up with a label. He labeled them as migrant criminals, and that's a migrant crime. Well, he had every right to do so, because yes, there is a daily crime establishment right now in New York City, and they're committing all kinds of crimes on a daily basis, from stealing, busting stores, gas stations, mopeds, going and snatching, women's purses, or anyone has a cell phone, walking and talking on his phone, grabbing the cell phone. You name it, all kinds of criminal activities they've been organizing and coordinating. Because Venezuelan government emptied their jails, and basically patch them up, all these criminals from Venezuelan jails and prison system, and sent them, and they said, go ahead and go, join the gang, join the crowd, going into America by crossing the border. And by the way, the amount of money is earned, the Mexican cartels are earning now, is about, give and take, $13 billion annually. I'm going to repeat the number. It is $13 billion a year business for human smuggling, to facilitate all these illegals crossing the border to the United States. And along with that, fentanyl has been also crossing our border, which is responsible with the death of 148,000 young Americans. This many people were killed, as Trump himself declared recently, that Mexican cartel is the #1 terrorist organization in the world, and he declared war All the power to them. I want to see every single bit of those bastards to be eliminated from the face of the earth that killed 148,000 young Americans. As Donald Trump said, there is no other terrorist, international terrorist, global terrorist organization. All the global terrorist organizations combined and all the wars you imagine did not kill that many Americans. That is including the September 11, that's including all the wars in Iran, Afghanistan, Syria, the past 20 years. 148,000 Americans did not get killed, but unfortunately, that many got killed in this country through fentanyl because they were using the illegal immigration, the mass illegal immigration, as way to move on with, to move on pushing their fentanyl into the United States. Democrats were fully aware, were absolutely fully aware of all these developments, but they chose not to do anything. They did not even lift their finger. Kamala Harris was given a position during the Biden administration as a vice president. She was charged with border. She was kind of in charge. I mean, there was a national security, there was border patrol, establishment, and she was put in a position where she could be influential as far as regulating and influencing the border policies. Guess what? Forget about Kamala visiting the border. She did not even pick up the phone and call the border patrol just to ask how you guys are doing. Do you need anything? Do you need any help? Money, resources, equipment, training, whatever. She did not even call them even once. She was in complete and utter denial about this situation. It's almost, I'm sorry to say that, but make me think that was done on purpose. She knew what was going on. She was fully aware. It's not, don't tell me, please. She worked in California before she became vice president, when she was a prosecutor in the state of California. She actually worked, she came up with cases against the cartel, so she knows them very well. But she did not take any action. By the way, I am from Minnesota, and during the summer of 2020, after George Floyd situation, when they were burning the downtown of Minneapolis, do you know what Kamala Harris said? I watched the video. She was saying that exactly. She was saying, go ahead and keep burning. Go ahead and keep burning. That's what she was saying. I have a close friend who has a small coffee shop very close to downtown Minneapolis. I asked him, how you doing? He said a lot of other store owners basically grabbed shotguns or weapons, and they were watching guard all night long for several nights in front of their stores to protect their stores, because those mobs were coming and saying, get out of here, we're going to burn this place. This is not a joke. This is exactly what was happening. And when it was happening, like my friend, I know him for like 25 years, he dedicated his entire life as a family with his wife and kids to bring this business, to make that business successful, so they can basically, he raised three boys. And imagine someday some angry mob is coming and telling them, get out of here, we're going to burn your place. You better kill them, instead of saying that. And what Kamala Harris was saying, keep burning. Burn, baby, burn. That's what she was saying, right? All right. And Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, whom Kamala Harris chose as her running mate for this election, right? Tim Walz. What did he do when they were burning the downtown Minneapolis? He watched, just like, that famous historical, a lot of people probably, I'm assuming know that, a Roman Emperor Neron, when he was burning Rome, he was sitting and watching and singing or playing some kind of musical instrument. I'm not sure which one is right. I'm kind of fuzzy with that now. That's what he did. He let those people, those mobs, burn the city. So this is the kind of establishment. That's why I call them treasonous. And that's why I supported and voted for Donald J. Trump. As he just said, and as he said so many times, and he keeps saying, make America great again. Behind that MAGA thing, all these things are in that bucket. So I'm going back to immigration now. It was a little bit, sidetracking because, I want to mention what kind of personality Kamala Harris has. That's why I wanted to, share the story. Although it's not directly related to immigration, I think it gives some kind of opinion about, about her. Talk is cheap. I did watch the obviously debate, that first and only debate between Kamala Harris and Donald J. Trump. Yes, Trump didn't do a good job. Yes, Kamala was wonderful. She spoke very good. She was obviously very well prepared, and she literally destroyed Trump at that debate. I was disheartened by that. But unfortunately, guys and gals, this is not all about, how you talk. Talking the talk is one thing, but, Donald Trump is a man who can also walk the walk. This is something no Democrat can ever understand. Again, I said that at the beginning of this video. I am not my parents. I'm myself an immigrant. And my daughter, who is now 23 and a half years old, going 24 in May 1st, she was born in St. Paul. I'm proud that, she's an American. This is a country, I'm going to get back to what I just said recently, before when I start talking. This country is a beacon of hope. And if this country is affording you those opportunities to come here, and by the way, there is no other country other than the United States of America ever on this planet now that gives birthright citizenship. There is no other nation doing this. If this country is actually being that generous to newcomers, like it was to me, and gave me an opportunity to go to college, to get myself educated, and to be able to find jobs, and to be able to raise a family, to be able to establish a decent living, you owe a lot. You should basically shut up and understand the value of all those things before you start, joining the bandwagon that Democratic establishment is trying to get you on and convince you that they're in the right direction. I'm going to have to repeat this. This country, historically, was built on the back of the immigrants. And currently, the value of immigration is such that they know every year they need certain amount of numbers. They can come up with those things. They know where the deficiencies are. They know they always need people from all over the world in many areas. White collar, blue collar, all kind of color. They need those people. And that trend will continue because this country has so powerful and huge economy. It has it's incredibly dynamic, and it's constantly generating jobs, new jobs that they cannot fulfill from within the resources that they have, the human resources. That's why they constantly need labor, newcomers, immigrants. Unfortunately, one of the other aspects of this illegal immigration is I just mentioned that $13 billion annual revenue source for those Mexican cartels. That's only one little aspect of it. Only one little aspect of it. The lion's share of illegal immigration, in terms of, I don't know the dollar amount, I don't know the dollar amount, but I tell you what, it's way, way, way more than $13 trillion annually. That the lots of businesses in this country are using those millions of illegal immigrants as very cheap labor to continue their business and to basically improve their bottom line, increase their profit margins. If anyone sit down and analyze, if any economist goes into that and analyze and comes up with numbers, it'll be probably mind-boggling. So unfortunately, this is another aspect to it, but it does not justify illegality of this situation. There was somebody I was watching, he had a wonderful analogy that I'm going to use this. The status of immigration, or the value of immigration. In his analogy, he was describing it like this. It's like you're building a dam, huge dam, like imagine the Hoover Dam, huge dam, right? It's containing, I mean, all the water in the world. I don't know what kind of a cubic meter amount of water, how many millions of tons of water, I don't know. Huge amounts of water, right? The water is source of life. Without that, we cannot exist. We use water for a lot of things. Now, with that kind of control manner, that you're controlling the water, what dam, you achieve wonderful things. But if the dam is broken, what happens is nothing but absolute and utter disaster, like this country experienced in Katrina storm, Katrina disaster, about the year, I think it was 2005 or 2004. It basically leveled the whole entire towns in Louisiana, right? Immigration is like that in his analogy. Immigration has incredibly important function for nation's economy and the improvement, especially a country like the United States that is generating constantly nonstop lots of millions and millions and millions of jobs. But if it's not controlled, it can have utterly disastrous impact and effect on the nation, on everything, on economy, on social life, on social economy. Everything will be impacted extremely negatively by the horrible consequences of uncontrolled immigration. Therefore, there is no question whatsoever. Whatever needs to be done during the Trump administration in the next 4 years, I'm all for it. I support it wholeheartedly and sincerely in the most heartfelt and sincere manner that everything has to be done to get the immigration under control and then to utilize its very powerful, energetic impact to improve the U.S. economy. Again, controlled immigration contributes to the U.S. economy hugely. The operative word here, the key word here, is nothing but controlled and legal immigration. Not even a single illegal should be able to cross the southern border. In fact, not even a single person's mind that crossing the border should cross their mind. It is that important to fix this problem once and for all in this manner. Thank you very much for watching me.